Hey there, it's Crafty Jennybug. Today it is time for Dephemerember. If you are not aware, Dephemerember is a daily ephemera prompt list that is hosted by Louisa Heinzel and Barbara at 49 Dragonflies, and they've been doing this several years. I've participated for a few years, and you can find links for their playlists and my Dephemerember playlists in the description below. Today's prompt is page tab and moth-eaten lace. So let's get started. This year, the ladies are encouraging the use of scraps, and so I've got my small bin of scraps, and I have a bunch of paper offcuts. And another thing that they are doing is something called compartmental making, which is similar to mass making in that you are producing or can produce a lot of things at once. However, the difference is that with mass making, you do different steps to make with an end result in mind, essentially. Whereas compartmental making is more making different parts that then could potentially be made whole. It's really beneficial if you only have a limited amount of time to craft in a crafting session. You can, just get your, like I'm doing here, I'm grabbing a bunch of scraps and then do one thing to those scraps. And then you have a bunch of decorated scraps. And then you can do another thing on a different crafting session with those scraps to alter them again and, et cetera, et cetera. I'll talk a bit about compartmental making in this video. I recorded if I'm making a voiceover for this video specifically because if I left it in its uncut form, it would be about an hour and a half long, and nobody really wants to hear me ramble for that long, I assume. So I'm showing you how I went through this process, and I'll give you my process steps, I guess, when it came to using compartmental making as Barbara and Louisa have explained it to come up with this project. And here I have put some of those scraps into a bin, and I have in this spray bottle some walnut dye that I made from walnut hulls I found while foraging on a walk through my neighborhood. I used them to dye some papers, and this was just what was left over of the mixture, so I've been using it a little bit here and there. I'm just spritzing these with that mixture and layering them, and then I will dry them, and they'll be ready for the next step. And this is another way compartmental making is awesome because I have selected scraps, and now I am altering them in a way that I could be done today. And they would just be ready for the next step whenever my next crafting session is. So it's a pretty neat way to give a name. It's a pretty neat name for a way to just squeeze in a little bit of crafting. I could just let these dry and be done. Now that they're dry, I'm taking a variety of different stamps and Distress Permanent Ink in Vintage Photo, Ground Espresso, and Black Soot to just kind of stamp randomly all over them, very chaotically. I'm mixing them up, I'm overlapping them. It's just chaos, pure crafting chaos. And this is just one more process step in the compartmental making madness joy. Because now I could just spend a few minutes doing this stamping process and then have a variety of different materials that I could then utilize in other projects. Now I'm using a variety of different shaped craft punches to cut out random shapes here and there. I've got circle, I've got a couple of different squares, I've got a page tab punch and a label punch, and I'm just cutting things out as the desire hits me. And then I'll save some of the other pieces that I used because I can use them for frames. I can, as you can see, I just cut some out there. And then I have this tab punch where I'm just cutting random tabs, and it's a lot of fun. And one more way I could have stopped here today, for the compartmental making. And here are all of the shapes I cut out in various sizes. Lots of different things to choose from when making these page tabs, and I'm really excited to get decorating even further. All right, here I've got some black lace and a few other varieties of lace to choose from. This came from a christening gown that was thrown out. It was like the bottom hem area of the skirt. A few other different things, same with this. Just going to make it moth-eaten. So ripping, cutting, just trying to get some jaggedy pieces of lace going on. And this is one more step in the compartmental making fun, is just ripping things up on a destructive day. And now for what you've probably been waiting for, the actual making. All right, I'm going to select this tab to start with, and I'm just going to try out a few different pieces of lace and see what fits, what I decide on in the moment. Yeah, just kind of fiddling with it, trying to get some page tabs made. Now, I don't make a whole lot of tabs in this video. I think I did 4, but I still have all of the supplies that I created in the beginning part of this video. And that allows me in the future to just grab these little elements and go. I now have a jar of ripped, tattered lace pieces that it'll save me some time in the future, potentially. So, just, having fun, really. The glue I'm using to adhere these pieces of lace and buttons onto these page tabs is Eileen's Fabric Fusion. It is a permanent fabric adhesive, very similar to like a Beacon 3-in-1, or, there was another. I think there's another similar glue that I'm forgetting the name of. It's very very handy in these situations. It's kind of almost like a tacky glue, but clear. Lots of inking and just piecing little lace parts onto these page tabs so that I have something that I enjoy at the end. Lots of buttons, my little scrap threads. Again, just having a lot of fun making these in a very chaotic fashion, which is pretty true for my Dephemerember history. Very chaotic, very, very fun crafting frenzy. I love it. And here we have my finished page tabs for the first prompt of Dephemerember 2025. I had a lot of fun making these. Compartmental making is something that's quite new to me, and I really look forward to utilizing that in the future. Dephemerember is always a time for trying new things, and while these are a little bit more on the, I would say, like basic slash like beginners side of crafting, they can very easily be made into something more. Well, Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.